Look at this one. Nevada sent more than 200,000 mail-in primary ballots to the wrong addresses. Wow. By my calculation, that's now 700,000. 84,000 mail-in ballots disqualified a New York City primary vote. Wow. Every state. California rejected 102,000 mail-in ballots because of mistakes. New Jersey, all mail-in vote debacle is a warning for November. So, here's one. Developed countries ban mail-in voting. U.S. would be laughingstock. Most developed countries, especially in Europe, ban mail-in voting to fight vast fraud and vote buying. Now, if you're in the media, how do you miss these things? How do you miss these things? Because you're liars. That's how you miss these things. If you don't mind, I'd like to hit these executive orders because Nancy Pelosi is very upset that the president signed these executive orders at his country club. Should he have signed them in front of her $25,000 freezer at her winery? Would she prefer that with her ridiculous class warfare? The president is trying to and now will get money to people who are suffering, their families. They need their unemployment compensation. He's trying to protect renters. Democrat governors have shut down this economy from sea to shining sea. And they like it both ways, the Democrats. They want to lock up everybody like we're lamb in cages, and then they want to complain about the economic consequences. It ain't going to cut it. And then they say, this president, look what he's doing. Let me tell you, payback is a bitch. You remember Obama with his phone and his pen? Well, apparently he left his phone and his pen, and President Trump picked it up. Remember what he said? If the Republicans don't act, he's going to act on his own. And we have DACA, a real piece of legislation. And by the way, the Chief Justice of the United States doesn't seem to have any problem with this. So the President of the United States wants to reduce the tax burden on working Americans, and that includes Democrats. He wants to make it possible for people to pay their rent, and he wants to make it possible for people to have some food on the table. And Nancy Pelosi, what was their priority? They want to destroy the electoral system, they want open borders for illegal aliens, they want benefits for illegal aliens, and they want all of America to bail out New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and California's pension systems. And meanwhile, their biggest supporters, the teachers' unions, are like Orville Faubus and George Wallace, standing in the school doorways, not allowing our little kids to go to school because they won't follow the science. Right, Dr. Fauci? Follow the science, follow the science. Well, the science says open the schools, but the Democrats won't. Why? Chaos. Chaos. Go ahead.
You are hitting everything, and that is why we love having you. But let me come back just for a moment because people may have forgotten you ran the DOJ under Ed Meese back in the day, and your sit-down...
I didn't run it. I was chief of staff.
Chief of staff means you were running it. The sit-down you did with Attorney General Bill Barr is so important this election because of the pandemic, and you talked to him about the issues with mail-in voting. Let me play a clip and get your thoughts on the other side.
The two ways we have resolving disputes in our society and keeping the peace are discussion and voting. And right now we're a very divided country politically. Our elections have been very close. They can turn on one state. They turn on just a few districts. And people have to have confidence in the outcome or we're going to have real problems in this country. And I think the people who want to experiment with different ways of voting right now, which are predictably, can predictably create problems of integrity, are playing with fire and are grossly irresponsible.
And you can see more of that important interview tonight on Life, Liberty, and Levin. Mark, from what you learned from Attorney General Barr, what do you think this means for the November election?
I think what the Democrats are doing, let's keep something in mind. When it comes to elections, they're run by states, and they're run by localities, which is always amazing to me when I hear leftists like LeBron James say there's an intentional effort to suppress and oppress the vote by these national Republicans.
Yeah.
Every county decides how many precincts are going to be open. The states are deciding mail-in or not mail-in vote. President has absolutely no say. Republicans in blue cities and blue states have absolutely no say. So let's make that point. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Ever heard of Cloward and Pivens, 1966? These two socialist professors, they said, flood the system, create anarchy and chaos in the system breaks down, then move in for power, take control. And by the way, blame your opponent and blame your enemy for the system collapsing. And you can see they've been doing this from the start. where you have this fool, James Clyburn, the President of the United States, he doesn't want to leave office. We're going to have to send in the U.S. Marshals. That's their talking points. When the president never said he's not going to leave office. The president said, I got to see what happens on election day, because all of us see what's going on. The states are incapable of doing 100 million potentially, or 100, or 80 million, or 60 million people with mail-in voting. We've never seen this before. You have states like Nevada, who illegally rushed it through their legislature and went around the Republican Secretary of State. Why are they doing this? Why are they suddenly, this year, with this president interested in mail-in voting? We've had voting going on a long time. To collapse it, to overwhelm it. Biden's hired 600 lawyers. 600, they're ready to litigate in states like Gore started to litigate against Bush. And no matter what, they're going to claim victory. If Trump wins the battleground states by a few thousand or a few tens of thousands, they're going to say he oppressed and suppressed the vote. Look at the mail-in vote. They want this thing extended, so even if he wins, they can call him a fake president, the way they did, by the way, to Bush 43 after the Bush election. So look, let me be honest. The Democrats today are very, very evil. It's the Bernie Sanders party. They can't give it up. They were evil during the Confederacy and slavery. They were evil for 100 years later with segregation. Now they're evil with their phony democratic socialism. It's a very evil party. You can look at Pelosi. Pelosi doesn't give a damn about the working people in this country. Chuck Schumer, I see them walk out together and I think of, wow, there's Morticia and Gomez. They're like walking out from the Adams family to the microphone. He's shuffling behind her. They have their talking points down. They're playing class warfare. They're playing race warfare. They're doing whatever they can. They don't want to run against Donald Trump. They want to run against somebody they create. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, are we really, as Americans, going to put up with this when we have a candidate who doesn't even have the guts to talk to and meet the American people when a minimum wage grocery clerk does? I go to the store, I wear my mask, I wear my hat, I got gloves on, I wear whatever is required, raincoats, I'm out there. You're out in society. We have 10% unemployment. You know what that means? We have 90% employment. People are still functioning. But Joe Biden's among the unemployed. I think he should be happy with the new $400 and the rest that he's getting, hiding in the basement. I just wanted to mention one other thing if we have a minute. Joe Biden likes to talk about the virus, what he would do. First of all, that's kind of a joke. Joe Biden wouldn't do anything. He'd be issuing emails. But we have a case where Joe Biden was put to the test in 2009 with the swine flu, the H1N1. We have facts. These are from newspapers. Politico, another left-wing site. Biden has fought a pandemic before. It didn't go so smoothly. And then he had his chief of staff, Ron Klain, said, man, we screwed up everything. The fact that so many people didn't die, or more people didn't die, that was like on the vaccine. Late, way under numbers, screw up after screw up. This is the Joe Biden record. And not only that, Obama administration shut down H1N1 testing. They said, hey, it's a pandemic. What's the point of keeping numbers, right? Meanwhile, you watch TV today. There's a chart. Everybody who's got the virus, the numbers are added. Everybody who's sick from the virus, numbers are added. Everybody who's passed away supposedly from the virus, numbers are added. Tell you what's interesting about this very quickly. 2 to 3 times more people die from cancer every year. Why don't the media put that on the chart? That affects up to 700,000 Americans die every year from cancer. I don't see that chart. I don't see the care of the media for people who die from cancer, who die from heart attacks and heart disease and strokes. I see none of those charts day in and day out, day in and day out, for some reason, and we know the reason. This pandemic. Do you remember them having charts on TV screens during the swine flu in 2000? Of course you don't, because Obama was president of the United States. The American people are onto the media, they're onto this election, they know what they're up against, and hopefully there's enough of us left to do the right thing.
Well, Mark, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. People can catch the rest of Mark Levin's amazing interview. You will not want to miss it with Attorney General Bill Barr tonight. It will be on Life, Liberty, and Levin live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And one of the topics that will be addressed is one we've been talking about on this show a lot, which will be the violence erupting in many Democrat-run cities around this country and what can and should be done about that. So please don't miss that interview. And Mark, we appreciate you being here as always.
Mark, thank you very much. Maybe Joe Biden on a
He
bike.
does a great job.
Maybe Joe Biden on a bike is a preview of what the Green New Deal will look like in the future. Everyone biking to work.
Indeed.
That's about right.
The great one, Mark
Thank you,
Levin.
Mark Levin. Awesome. Watch tonight.
Thank you.
All right.